everyone. Today I'm going to review about the book The One and Only Ivan. This is from Catherine Applegate, not Apple. So this story may look very long and just another boring story. Actually, I'm finished it just in like an hour or so. I don't know. And because in this book there are a lot of spaces between letters, but however that doesn't make the story any less interesting. Today I'm going to review you about this book and how I like it. The One and Only Ivan. So let's start. At the back, I'm going to read the back for you. Ivan is an easygoing gorilla. Actually, he's a silverback, the leader of the gorilla. Living in a shopping mall, he has grown accustomed to humans watching him through the glass walls of his domain. Actually, I think you better call it a cage. He rarely misses his life in the jungle. In fact, he hardly ever thinks about it at all. Instead, Ivan thinks about TV shows he's seen, his friends Stella, an elephant, and Bob, a dog, and painting. Then he meets Ruby, a baby elephant taken from her family, and she makes Ivan see their home and his own art through new eyes. When Ruby arrives, change comes with her, and it's up to Ivan to make a change for the better. So that's the review on the back of the cover. So this story is about a silverback meeting Ruby, a baby elephant. It all started in a shopping mall. He was in a domain so that people can come and look at them so they can buy things at the shopping mall. The shopping mall was owned by a man named Mac. His past life is called Helen, but one day they just broke up. After bits by bits, lots of bits, so I have to kind of read the whole story to know his past. Ivan's past is revealed, and I'm going to tell you this. He was born, and then he has a twin sister named Tag. He is called by his parents Mud because he loved to play with them. However, he's now called by the man, actually every human, Ivan. They were playing together, then suddenly one day, that's the day when they're playing together, a group of men come. His father roared out with anger because silverbacks are believed they be angry because they want to protect everyone. And Ivan clung to her mother with Tag. However, the group of men shoot their mother and she was dead. Then they shoot her father, and I'm not going to tell the other bits. Then they being put into the box and go into the boat with them. Tag is not giving up. She pulls in the vine that leads to her homeland. But however, after a few minutes, Tag looked back at Ivan in depressing eyes. He knows that the vine has snapped. Then, by some mysterious way in the box, Tag died. And then Ivan was the people who first opened the box after Ivan is stuck in there is Mac, the owner of the shopping mall. So he come home with Ivan and then he take care of him like a baby human. However, there is one specialty of gorilla that Ivan had, that he eats a lot of things. And he is a very kind heart. He says that Gorilla and Silverbacks only angry when they are trying to protect someone. Ivan said that he had no one to protect, so he should not be angry. And then after he did become angry, then come Ruby, and there is a problem with Stella, the elephant. She is quite old. She have an infected leg because one night she was in the circuit, and however the chain got into her foot and made her injured badly, and that's when she gets to the shopping mall. Her foot get infected when Ruby come, and then she dies because of that infection. Ruby at first was really attached to Stella, and she's hardly ever start talking about her. But then when Stella died, Ruby is very sad, and she was just sitting there doing nothing. Then one day Mac decided to let her to train like Stella too. Ruby have to go through this very, very hurtful trainings. However, she does sometimes get stubborn. At first, Mac doesn't seem to be noticing, but then he even got a claw stick, like a little pokey thingy, and it's really hurt, I think, because imagine a stick tapping into your shoulder. Even if it's just a little poke, it can hurt a lot. Kind of like a needle stuck into you. So that's when Ruby gets too angry, and she used her trunk to slap Mac. And that's when he got angry and he get inside. And that's when the training is over. Then Ivan suddenly recognized he have made a promise to Stella that he is going to protect Ruby, that he mustn't let Ruby be like her. So he decided to paint. He become angry because he finally know there is someone to protect, and that is Ruby. Bob is also a dog, but however, he's very helpful. He helps Ivan a lot, especially when you're in a cage. You really need a friend that isn't in a cage. He knows a lot of things on the outside because he absolutely have no way to say, and sometimes he check for leftovers in Ivan's chin. Ivan then starts drawing a painting about 12 papers wide, about 84, I think, paper 84, about 12 paper wide, and the height was like 24 paper, I don't know. It's probably a really, really big painting. But after that, he noticed something is missing. There was Ruby, there was the zoo, there was a cave, there was a gate, there were people, there were other elephants. What is missing? Suddenly, one day, when he was with Julia, another girl who was best friend with him, she was doing her homework when Ivan saw all that words in their book. Then suddenly he realized what he was missing. At night he started to work again. He worked the word home. Bob said it wasn't a really important word. However, for Ivan, it's not. It is really, really important to him, especially to Ruby, who have experienced the same pain, like losing their parents. So he started painting. He paints a lot, and then when Julia came at last, it took a few months, I think, she sees all of those paper, and she calls her father George. George is also a worker inside the shopping mall. He was a cleaner, and he see all those paintings. He said, all I see is blob and blob. So Julia explained that it must be drawings, that the E looking thingy, it look like legs, and O is more like an eye, and they started to be like a big puzzle pieces. And they finally recognized it was Stella in a zoo. And there was the word home, 12 meter, 4 meter high and 4 meters wide for each letter. Ivan is really, really happy with his finishing touch. He put his fingerprint inside so everybody knows it, the work of the gorilla. And then they put it in a billboard. And George was worrying that he might get fired. But after Julius said that what if Ruby is going to end up like Stella? So his father finally agreed. And my favorite part so far is funny one. Is that let me see. So this is when Mac get really crazy. I don't know. It's just kind of crazy. And he gets kind of crazy, and then something happened, and that all the people see the billboard, and they all get very sad that when the TV reporter take a picture of a claw stick, the one that Mac used to poke Ruby, and they started to think they must have used the claw stick to poke Ruby, to hurt Ruby, to hurt that gorilla. So they started to do an action plan. They getting up signs, do whatever people protesting usually do, and it was like, free the elephant, we love Ruby and Ivan, that sort of things. So one day a zoo manager come and decided to take Ivan and Ruby with them. However, Ivan is really, really scared. He wants his friend Bob, his teddy, not Tag, and his friend Julius. He really, really sad, but he still have to go because the people are poking him. And she even do something that nobody's ever going to expect. That she put freezing raisin yogurt inside the box that they're going to take him into the zoo, and that's his weakness. He really, really likes raisin yogurt. So he get in, and then he just wait, and this is in the gorilla's point of view, so I don't really know what is going outside, but I think they're taking him to the zoo by helicopter. So next to him was a box that held Ruby. And then they got to the zoo. Ivan get around, looking around, and then one time Julius get inside of the zoo, and then Bob get inside her bag too, but they probably know that Bob's not supposed to be there. So they sneak him inside just to get Ivan to see him. Then suddenly they recognize that George is actually going to have a work in the zoo too, so that he can let his daughter Julius come to visit them every day. He climbed up to the tree, and there was Ruby happily and dancing all around grassland field. And then that's where the story ended. Also, we got to take a sneak peek at ending the last. And this is how the cover looked like, even though I know you don't see it. So that's the whole story of Ivan. Even though it wasn't so eventful, it's still very interesting. At the gorilla's point of view, if we don't have the gorilla's point of view, then we would never understand that what they're thinking. Like usually we're just in the human point of view, and they say, "Oh wow, that gorilla is so smart. I wish I can be a gorilla sometimes." However, at Ivan's point of view, he thinks more complicated. Humans think they're the best, they are really, really wise, and no other animal can compare to them. But what if animals are really smart and they're just trying to hide? Because you see what happened to dolphins? They're so smart, they're intelligent, and they just got into being like a pet. They're playful, they go into circuits, and some of them only let a few percent of their intelligence to the human to know. Maybe that's what's going on. Like, I mean, Stella get into circuits, but she have feelings too. Ivan understand that what he need to do to get him and Ruby into the zoo, or just maybe Ruby into the zoo. Maybe animals are just waiting because they're kind. They know that if they do this, that will happen. They know when an earthquake is coming, and this book is kind of like The Cat Who Teach a Pigeon to Fly. It's kind of like that book. As we understand the animal's point of view, I think that we can also stop other issue that is bad to animal, like killing animals, losing their animal parents, animal testing, and more. Thank you for listening to my speech. I hope this reviewing is helpful for you.